Hey everyone, welcome to the 22nd video in the playlist Leetcode Top Interview 150 Solutions. In this video, we will be solving the 22nd problem in the list Leetcode Top Interview 150. The name of the problem is ZigZag Conversion, and the problem asks that we have been given a string PayPal is hiding, and we have to convert it into this kind of pattern. Now, let's try to go ahead and simulate this. So we have input as this, we need output as this, and what it is essentially saying is, apart from the input, we also have given number of rows, which is 3, and the output should look like this. So one thing is to notice is that we have 3 rows and we have it going in the downward direction, the cursor. So we have P and then A and then Y and then the P, A, L and then I, S and then hiding in the same pattern. So the pattern here is we are going down once until the number of rows. So we are going till down till the number of rows. When we have exhausted the number of rows, we are going diagonally up until we again reach the first row. Then we are again going diagonally, then we are again going down in the same order and repeating this pattern. Now the thing to notice here is that in the output, there is no space between P, A, H, N. So which means we don't care about the space, we only care about at what index, which is the row I should be appending my current character to. So given this assumption, the approach will be very simple. Iterate on the string based on the current index, decide if we have to go down or go diagonal. So this is a simple for loop question. So let's quickly write code for this and see how this will work. So first we need to declare a string builder for every of these rows. So let's do that. So string builder array rows is equal to new string builder, and this will be equal to number of rows which is already given in the input string. Now for every int I is equal to 0, I is less than rows dot length I plus plus, let's initialize the string builder so we don't get another pointer exception. String builder, and then initially our current row is this row. So this is our current row. So let's create a variable for current row, and let's also create a variable for the cursor, which is this. So let's call it I and current row. So int I is 0, int current row is also 0 because initially we are standing at the first row. Now we start iterating on the string. So by I is less than s dot length. So we start the iteration from 0 to the length of the string. Now at every index we have to make a decision if we are going downward or we are going diagonal. So let's write that. So going down, going diagonal. Now at any point, if we go, I becomes greater than the s dot length. So if I is equal to s dot length, which means we have processed the full string, so we have to break out of the loop. Now, if we are standing at the current row 0, we have to keep going down until we have reached the number of rows here. So while current row is less than num rows, what we do is we keep going down. So char c is s dot character at I rows of current row dot append c. So what we are doing is appending the current character to the specific string builder of that row, and then we increase the current row by 1 and increase I as well. So this is how we will be going down. Now once we have reached the number of rows, we have to stop processing and start going diagonal. So once this current row has reached number of rows, it will go down and come here. So again, now we have to keep going in the diagonal direction. So y current row is greater than equal to 0, do the same thing. And let's do the same thing. But here, since we are going in the upward direction diagonally, instead of doing a current row plus plus, we have to do a current row minus minus. One more thing to notice is that if this is the row 0, this is the row 1, and this is the row 2, and num rows is 3. So when this while loop finishes, at this point, the current row value would become 3, which is this. And we don't have a third row. So we have to reset it back to the second last row, which is in this case, the value would be the value of current row minus 2. So let's set that. So current row before going diagonally should be num rows minus 2. Okay. Now, after we have processed all the rows diagonally and we have current row has become negative, then we again have to start going in the downward direction to continue the pattern. So let's reset the current row again at the end of this loop. So if current row has become negative, set current row back to 0. Now, one thing to notice here is that if at any point we have exhausted the number of characters in the string, So this can lead to exception. So we always have to check whenever we are accessing the string that the I is less than s dot length. So let's copy this condition in the second while loop as well, which is here. Finally, we have to return the result in a single line. So we say string builder final result is new string builder, and for string builder row in rows final result dot append row dot string, and finally we return final result dot to string. So this way we will be clubbing all the results back to a single string like this and returning. One more corner scenario to notice here is that if the number of rows is less than equal to 1, so if the number of rows is less than equal to 1, then we don't need to process the string, so we just return s. Let's do some cleanup before we run this code. So one thing to notice here is that we also need to set the current row to 1 actually, because diagonally when we have filled all the rows, we have also filled the 0th row. So the next row which in the downward direction should not be 0, it should be 1. So let's try to go ahead and submit the solution for this and see if we are able to pass the test cases. Yes, we are. Let's submit again. We get an accepted solution.